If you're using AWS WAF managed rules with their default settings, you're probably blocking legitimate customers right now and you don't even know it. I just helped a client recover $15,000 in lost sales because their WAF was rejecting valid API requests from their mobile app.
Wait, that's terrifying. How does that even happen?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Network Ninja CloudCast. I'm your host, and today we're diving into something that trips up almost every team I work with.
Hey everyone, I've actually been struggling with this exact thing, so I'm really glad we're covering it today.
Perfect timing then. We're going to demystify AWS WAF managed rule groups and show you exactly how to tune them so they protect your app without blocking your users.
So let me start with the basic question. I enabled the AWS Managed Rules Common Rule Set, the one AWS recommends, and suddenly my application's health checks started failing. What went wrong?
Classic scenario. Here's what happened. AWS WAF managed rule groups are pre-built collections of rules maintained by AWS or third-party security vendors. The Common Rule Set, specifically AWS Managed Rules Common Rule Set, contains rules that block things like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and suspicious request patterns. But here's the catch. These rules are designed to be broadly protective, not specifically tuned for your application.
So it's like buying a security system for your house that's so sensitive it calls the police when your cat walks by?
Exactly right, and that analogy holds up technically. The rules use pattern matching against request components like headers, URI paths, query strings, and body content. Your health check endpoint might have been sending requests that matched a rule pattern. For example, the size restrictions _ body rule blocks request bodies over 8 kilobytes by default.
Okay, so how do I figure out which rule is causing the problem?
This is where most people make their first mistake. They just disable the entire rule group. Don't do that. Instead, go to the AWS WAF console, find your web ACL, and check the sampled requests. But here's the pro move. Before you even enable a rule group in production, set its action to count mode instead of block. In the console, you'll see this as override rule group action to count.
So count mode lets the traffic through but logs what would have been blocked.
Precisely. You're essentially running the rules in audit mode. Let it run for at least 24 to 48 hours to capture your normal traffic patterns. Then check CloudWatch metrics and WAF logs. You'll see exactly which rules are triggering and on what requests. The logs show you the rule ID, like cross-site scripting _ body or Solfly _ query arguments, plus the actual request that triggered it.
That makes sense. But what if I find a rule that's blocking legitimate traffic? Do I just turn off that specific rule?
You have three options, and this is where tuning gets surgical. Option 1 is to set that specific rule to count instead of block. In the rule group, you can override individual rules. Option 2 is to create a scope down statement. This tells WAF to only apply the rule group to certain requests. For example, you might exclude your health check path/health from the common rule set entirely using a not statement with a byte match statement on the URI path.
And option 3?
Create a rule with higher priority that explicitly allows the traffic before it hits the managed rules. Remember, WAF evaluates rules in priority order, lowest number first. So if your health check comes from a specific IP range, say your load balancer's internal IP is in the 10.0.0.0.0 out of 8 range, you create an allow rule at priority 0 that matches that source IP in your health check path.
Oh, so it's like having a VIP list at a club. If you're on the list, you skip the security check entirely.
Perfect analogy, and it maps directly to how WAF processes rules. Once a request matches an allow action, WAF stops evaluating and lets it through. No further rules are checked for that request.
What about choosing which managed rule groups to use in the first place? There are so many options.
Start with your application type. For a standard web application, I recommend 3 core groups. First, AWS Managed Rules Common Rule Set for general protection. Second, AWS Managed Rules Known Bad Inputs Rule Set, which catches things like log4j exploits. That's the log4j rule specifically. Third, AWS Managed Rulelessly Rule Set if you have any database-backed functionality. If you're running WordPress, add AWS Managed Rules WordPress Rule Set. For APIs, consider AWS Managed Rules Amazon IP Reputation List to block requests from known malicious IPs.
What's the biggest mistake you see teams make with managed rules?
2 things. First, enabling everything at once in block mode and wondering why their app breaks. Always start with count mode. Second, never reviewing their WAF logs after initial setup. Attackers evolve, your application evolves, but their WAF config stays frozen in time. Set a calendar reminder to review WAF metrics monthly. Look for rules with 0 hits, which might indicate gaps in coverage, and rules with unusually high hits, which might indicate false positives or an ongoing attack.
Let me make sure I've got this. Start with count mode to audit. Run it for a couple days, check the logs to see what's triggering, then either tune individual rules, create scope down statements, or add priority allow rules for legitimate traffic, and review regularly.
Nailed it. And here's your homework. Go into your AWS console right now, find your web ACL, and check if any managed rules are set to count that you forgot to switch to block. I've seen production systems running in count mode for months because someone forgot to flip the switch after testing.
That's a great tip. So the protection was never actually active?
Exactly. Count mode logs but doesn't block. It's audit only. One more pro tip. Use AWS Firewall Manager if you're managing WAF across multiple accounts. It lets you deploy and tune managed rule groups consistently across your entire organization from one place.
This is super helpful. I'm definitely going to audit our WAF config today.
That's it for today's episode. If this saved you from blocking your own users, hit that like button and subscribe for more cloud networking deep dives.
And share this with your security team. They'll thank you later.
Thanks for watching the Network Ninja CloudCast. See you in the next one.